Let's not get it confused. Yeah. I'm saying, have you did anything of service that we can point to say he is a good leader? Like Chris, and I'm not even a fan of Chris Christie, but he was the student council president in high school. So have you done anything of service besides yourself that has not benefited yourself? It's just a simple question.
So the acts of service that I have performed are small, so small that I don't even want to talk about them to boast. But yes, have I volunteered for this country? Yes, I have. I've always been interested in healthcare.
It's okay to talk about the small things.
I mean, these are small things, right? But thank you.
Let's just mention
Bethesda North Hospital.
So it's really a no?
No, it's not a no. It's just something I don't like boasting about. I volunteer.
We're not boasting. It's an interview. You're boasting on your vision and everything else.
I think
you boasted on the millions of dollars that you made. So let's just throw it out. So in sixth grade, I'll give you an example. I'll help you out. In sixth grade, Miss Harris was let me give you an example because maybe you're confused. In the sixth grade, Miss Harris was snatching papers from everybody in the classroom. So me as a 10-year-old, I went to the principal and said, I'm tired of Miss Harris snatching papers, and I'll organize the students around getting Miss Harris to stop snatching papers. Now, there was a consequence for that. I got suspended for 5 days for talking back, and I got in trouble. I got a spanking, and I was on punishment for months and months. But that is a simple way of organizing people. So I want you to kind of boast about it the way you did the millions of dollars and said what you did with the pharmaceutical companies. What leadership can you point to that you've been able to rally anybody around anything that is of service that you did not pay anybody to do? I think that's important for the next president of the United States.
Sure. So I've always been drawn to healthcare. That's why I ended up founding companies in that space. When I was in high school, part of what drew me into it was that I was a volunteer at a local hospital. I actually became the leader of that group of volunteers that actually discharged women who had recently given birth. That was it. Nothing big to it.
Did you do anything we can point to stand out?
But I want to say something about that because I say that in the book. If I'm being really honest, why did I do that in high school? A part of the motivation, I'll be just brutally honest with you, was that's actually what allows you to get into a good college when you graduate.
Right.
You want to check the box of community service.
So it was about you. So
there was
about self.
And I'm admitting that in a way that very few other people do, but I got to be honest about it. That was a big part of why I did it.
Yeah, it was about self, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to give it back to the guys. I'm going to be honest about it with you.
Yep.
Leadership is not about self.
I agree with you on that. What
I just heard is that everything is about you. And to be honest with you, this is just a PR campaign, sir. To be honest with you, and I think you're trying to go further to the right because you want the Republicans to accept you as a man of color. And I think the only way you think you can do that is to be so extreme.
I appreciate your opinion
with your positions, and I think you need to do a little bit more work in service. I'll give it back to you
Let
guys.
me ask, because she did ask me a question, and then you guys said you wanted to hear a response, but I think I heard an expression of opinion. So I just want to make sure you're all done before I respond to it.
Wanting to say that even then I would still want you to point out, even at the hospital, something that you did that made you stand out on when actually taking a leadership role. But you already answered it. You said you did it because it was a motivation to get in college.
Exactly.
Which means
it was
about you.
I'm being very honest about that. But
everything has been about you. So as a veteran,
let me tell you something. I appreciate
it's very hard for me to follow leaders that make everything about them. So you might want to work on that because it's a lot of veterans and Republicans. So you might want to work on that talking point and maybe do some volunteering while you're on the campaign trail. I'm going to give it back to Charlamagne and Envy.
Yeah, I want to be respectful. Want to make sure you got everything you wanted to on the table before I respond to that.
If this was just us, it would be a lot more.
You guys tell me. I'm the guest on your show. You tell me when I'm good to speak.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
You sure? Mm-hmm. You sure about that? If we're good.
Yeah, we're sure.
So I think there's a different worldview that we have. And I think the worldview is how one actually makes contributions in a country. I do not believe that there's a separate category of just if you're serving the country and then if you're acting in self-interest, that's somehow sinful or wrong. I reject that vision. To the contrary, I think capitalism is the best system known to man to lift people up from poverty. I deeply respect and I thank you for your service to this country. I'm grateful for it. I haven't served the country in the way that you have. But I think that the way you get ahead in capitalism, how did I develop a multi-billion-dollar biotech company? It was by developing medicines that save people's lives.
A lot of people say capitalism causes poverty.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree with that. I think that capitalism demands that you provide something to someone that helps them more than you're actually charging them for it. That's the only way.
That's
the
a
tried
business
and true
model,
way
sir. That's
it
not
is a business
service.
model. It's not. I'm not saying
that's
it's
not service.
I'm saying it's having an impact on society.
An elected official is service. That's the disconnect.
That's right. So now.